Hi and welcome back to Garden Ninja. Now today's video guide is going to show you how to prune cherry trees, any tree in the prunus family, whether it's a cherry, a plum, a damson, or even things like apricots. And there's a really specific way that we prune those trees to make sure that they survive and give us loads of fruit. So grab your secateurs and let's get cracking. Now when it comes to pruning plums and cherries or anything in the prunus family, there's a very specific time of year that we do that, and that is late summer. We never prune prunus, cherries, plums, damsons in the winter. And the reason for that is they're really susceptible to a fungus, otherwise known as silverleaf disease. And if you prune in the winter, the chances are that the trees could get infected through the open wounds. Silverleaf causes the dieback of that lateral or branch, and it can even infect the entire tree, reducing its vigour and in the worst case, killing the tree. So whenever you're looking at cherry trees and thinking about pruning, it's always the end of summer. If you've not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit the red button to subscribe today. Also click the bell for notifications. We'll have access to hundreds of garden design hints, tips and hacks from me, the Garden Ninja. And best of all, it's free. Now in this video guide, I've got two different prunus trees. Behind me, we've got a plum. It's had loads of fruit on, and now it's the beginning of September and ready for a prune. The second tree we have is a cherry tree that needs a crown lift and a good old tidy up. And I'm going to show you how to prune both of these so that you can prune your own cherry trees for success. All you're going to need are some clean, sharp secateurs, a bucket for your clippings, and a bit of enthusiasm. Now the first thing we need to do is to establish where we're going to make the cut, because it's really important. Wherever we make the cut, it will divert energy back down to either the next side shoot or the main branch. So if we want this part of the tree to send out growth next year, we cut just above it at an angle to remove all of this. However, if this branch is in the wrong way and we want to get rid of it, we don't cut it here. We take it all the way back to the next branch. So either all the way back or just above an outward facing bud. And as long as you remember that rule, you can prune your cherry tree in summer and shape it to make sure that it's neat and tidy and super productive. Now secateurs are great for small branches, anything up to the width of a pencil. But if you've got bigger branches, you may need some loppers or even a wood saw. You can buy specialist pruning saws that you can use, and we always cut under the branch first and then downwards. And I'm going to work around the tree, showing you how we use these tools and giving you an overview of the reshaping of this plum tree. One of the first and easiest jobs is to remove any dead wood, and you can see that usually because nothing's growing off it, and when you bend it, see that? It snaps. So you want to take this all the way back until we see greenery, which is about here to here. That's where the green growth is. So now when it comes to cherry trees, you may notice that they put on loads of growth in a matter of a year or two, and it gets really long, like this side shoot or lateral. Now if I leave this until next year, the chances are that when it does fruit, it's going to hang down and get really heavy and then potentially snap, damaging the tree. And with any growth like this, I tend to take it back by a third, if not half, at the end of each summer, which, as we know, focuses the energy further back into the tree, meaning that when it does fruit, the branches and laterals can support that fruit. They're not going to get overladen. So what I'm going to do is work my way to probably to about there, and then make a nice neat pruning cut, which I'll show you on a close-up as to how I prune this branch of the cherry tree. So if you take a look here, we've got the perfect pruning cut at an angle, away from the bud, but not too close to damage the bud. And they're the kind of cuts that you're aiming for. So down here, I've got a really low hanging branch, and that's just going to get snagged in my mower. The fruit's probably going to bend down and touch the ground, so I need to get rid of that. Now, the branch is a little bit thicker, so we're going to use the loppers. But in they go, and then a clean, sharp crunch. Sorted. Now here is a good example of a branch that's in the way. It's low to the ground, the fruit hangs down, and I want to remove it. So using a sharp pair of loppers, I'm going to take this one back to the main stem. So we leave maybe 2 or 3 mil, and then we cut through, and there we go. And here we have a clean, neat, slightly angled cut so that water and rainfall will run off it. You don't need to take it right the way back to the main trunk where water ingress can get in. So that there is a very neat, perfect cut. Work around the plum or cherry tree, opening it up, taking off any crossing branches, anything that's damaged or rubbing, and take your time, stand back and have a look. We're aiming for this open goblet shape where there's airflow through the tree and nothing crossing, rubbing or getting in the way. And you'll see here how I do that. And I've pretty much finished working my way around, making sure that it's got a nice open centre with loads of airflow and nothing is getting too tangled. I mean, that needs to come off, doesn't it? It's with a few little mini cuts. In fact, what's that doing there? That there needs to come back. You'll then start to see that can come off because it's only going to grow in the way. There we go. So everything's got space, there's loads of air, nothing's congested, nothing's competing, and I've probably taken off maybe a third. You know, some of these whips are quite long, they've come off because they're just going to get damaged in the wind. We're focusing the efforts, and now, I think you'll agree, we've got a really well balanced, ready for next winter. Let's take a look at the cherry tree. Now, when it comes to this cherry tree, as you might see, I'm getting lost in foliage. All of these branches are far too low to the ground. The tree's put on loads of growth, but all of this needs thinning out because it gets snagged in my mower. It's a bit of a pain. So it's a case of getting your snips and getting underneath, and just giving it a really good tidy up back to the main trunk. Start thinning these out. And what this will do, it will actually open up the tree and make it look a little bit more attractive. It'll end up looking more like a multi-stem than just a blob of greenery. And all of these crossing branches, bits in the way, off they all go, out the way. That's in the way. You just work your way through, seeing which branches are problem children and which ones are perfect children. As you can see now, it's already starting to open up. I think that one can come off as well. Back to the main stem. That one's too thick. So, top tip, if you can't get through with one hand squeeze, get your loppers. There we go. Now you could go absolutely wild and pick your way through this, cutting back to an outward facing bud and thinning it out. And if you want to do that for neatness, you can do. This cherry here usually gets absolutely ravaged by the birds. They love the cherries, so I barely get a look in. So I don't mind keeping this a little bit wilder on the top. Cleaned up the bottom for the mower, it's got a beautiful shape, but this kind of branch network will allow birds safe haven, whereas the plum tree is a bit too open, but that's because we're pruning it for fruit. But I'll whiz round, see if there's any dead or dying material, snip those off, but then I think this cherry tree is done. Have you got gardening questions that you need answers for? Well, why not head over to the Garden Ninja forum on my blog, where you can ask me anything about gardens, plants and garden design. There's a whole army of other garden ninjas there that can help provide answers to your questions. It's a really great way to meet the other ninjas, so head over there now. So there we go, Garden Ninja's super easy way to pruning your cherry, plum or damson trees in late summer. If you've liked this video, please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking the link below and hitting that bell for notifications. And make sure you check out the rest of my videos, where I've got hundreds of garden design hints, tips and hacks to help you make your gardens awesome. I'm off inside for a well-earned brew. I've been Lee Burkhill, a Garden Ninja. Happy gardening.